Hi, this is Andrew Twidwell with ABT Plumbing, Electric, Heat and Air. Once again with the show You Got This. It's a show of DIY do's and don'ts. And I forgot my name there for a second. My goodness. So it is the new year and new me. And my goodness, it's just kind of crazy. How are you doing, Miss Rosalie Brown, back out
I'm
down in
good.
LA?
Same new year, same old cranky me. Everything's the same. I do have a bit of a headache because we're having some weather here. And I know
Yeah.
this is like oh, poor you, but I have found the older I get, the more that barometric pressure affects
Oh,
my
yeah. Affects
how
you.
my sinuses and how my head feels. So we had some wet weather and now we've transitioned to there it's not raining, but it's really cold out. So my head is like pounding today. So I'm trying to bring the smiles.
Yeah. Well, my head's been pounding for the past week, but for a different reason because we had COVID go through our household. So yeah, I got COVID on not last Saturday, Saturday before Christmas. So yeah, we had actually I tested positive that Sunday. So it was Sunday. We were supposed to come. We were supposed to go out with some friends. That we have a yearly thing, yearly get together for Christmas Eve, and that fell apart for the second year in a row. Last year we missed it too because of the flu went through our house. So yeah, and it kind of went through the place, and I got it. Our son was up visiting. He got it next, and then he's on the mends right now. And then my wife got it. Betty got it 4 days ago. So yeah, it's just been it's going through everybody. And I know like I put it up on the socials just to kind of whine a little bit, just because that's what you do when you're sick, right? And you want some sympathy. And I can't tell you how many people have also said that, yeah, they've been dealing with that as well. So it's that this year's been crazy. I read that more people have tested positive now than in the beginning of the pandemic.
Well, I'm just going to tell you that your post inspired panic in me because I had just spent half a day with you in a closed room having a meeting. And I was like, wait a
Right.
minute, what? Wait, do I have a headache? Does my throat hurt? What's that? So when the power of suggestion,
Oh
right?
yeah.
So you go, oh wait, I don't feel good, and then I was like, well, it's because you didn't sleep well, because you never, and then I was like, all right, talk myself off the
It's
ledge.
not COVID. It's not COVID. I kept
I
saying that to myself, and then I tested, and in true form, like this has happened. I've only had COVID twice, and both times my wife just harangues me like, "No, we're testing you, right?" Because she's that person, and she's a good mom, and and a good wife. So anyway, she's like, "You need to test. You need to test." So she's hovering over me. I barely finished my first cup of coffee, but she's like, "I got to know," because she's trying to figure out her day, right? Because we got to do the Christmas shopping. We got to get stuff for hors d'oeuvres for the Christmas Eve and all that stuff. But if I'm sick, we're not doing anything. So I'm like, all right, all right, all right. I don't have COVID. I don't have COVID. I'm sure I don't have COVID. And then sure enough, bam. And I'm like, you're kidding me, right? She's like, nope, you got it. God dang it.
Yeah, your post set off a chain reaction where my phone was kind of blowing up on who are you with? Were you there? Who's testing? And I was like, you know what? Let's just pretend for sake of argument, everyone should test if they want to, and then keep your results to yourself if you don't want to share them. But I've got a like holiday coming up, and it is what it is. So, yeah. Yeah, your post inspired a little bit of panic, but that's okay. I mean,
Yeah, because
we
I
we
went
all wanted you to be
with a bunch
okay.
of people that week. Yeah. So yeah, it
Yeah.
was kind of crazy. And I don't know where I got it because our son came home that Friday and he'd flown up from Mexico City. So I just kind of assumed, he brought it, but he was really good. Like he didn't not want to get it, and he did not want to be that one that brought it home, right? So he masked up on in the airport and the Uber on the flight, the whole thing. He was masked up the whole time. And even when we picked him up, we all masked up just to make sure, And then I'm the one that gets it. I'm the typhoid Mary, and I don't know where I got it, but it wasn't from him. I don't know where I picked it
Well, it
up.
wasn't for me, okay, but I will say
No one
that
tested positive in the office, as far as I know.
I did, I did have a thought, and I thought, Andrew and I have known each other since like 2006, maybe, and I
Yeah,
thought, after all these years, if Andrew finally gives me a gift for Christmas and it's COVID, we're gonna have a chat. but you didn't. So we're good. And holidays are great. It's hard to even think about holidays now because by the time this airs, you're well into the first week of the new year, and
Yeah.
everybody always starts off the new year, new me, new year, new me, which is all garbage. I'm not going to even go into that. But what about if one of your resolutions was to kind of get on top of stuff at your house and like take care of things now, right? Little effort now, so you don't
Feeling
have
up
big
to it now
expenses
is a good
later.
time. Yeah. Yeah.
So let's go ahead and, since we're already 5.5 minutes in talking about your poor health, let's kind of transition into, hey, we have a suggested January/New Year home maintenance list, right? You kind of
Yeah.
curated this, and so we'll go through it. So why don't you want me to kick it off? This is kind of
Yeah. You kick it
ironic.
off.
Um, okay, I'm
I
just
know we're
going to
having
kick
some
it off, and
technical
I can't tell if you're
difficulties, so I'm
talking
not
right
sure
now.
if I lost you there for a second. But let's start with we'll just start with number one. I'm not sure if you started or not, but um, so clean the kitchen. You know, if you've been hosting holiday events, you know your kitchen's probably logged a bunch of hours and overtime with family. I know ours did. Um, yeah, I know you want to like crash on the couch and watch some TV or maybe watch a football game or something. But one thing that you should kind of check is your range hood. There is a filter in the range hood. It's not much of a filter. It's just kind of a, a metal mesh, but it catches grease, keeps the grease from going up into the flue. And that's something you definitely want to take out and throw in your dishwasher. Just clean it up because it will collect a lot of grease and gunk. And then there's actually, most of them have like a drip tray too. And you want to clean that out because, you know, oils and fats and grease and stuff, they can become flammable. So, you know, you definitely want to take care of that. It's one of those things that we kind of forget about because, you know, we don't use it very often. And it really also depends on what your cooking style and diet is. You know, I mean, if you're vegan and you don't have any animal fats or stuff, you're probably fine. But I know, you know, what we have for Christmas, we had ham. So, and then I cooked a nice uh, portichetto or a pork Italian pork thing too. So we had a lot of nice yummy white meat this Christmas. So yeah, you definitely want to check that range hood fan. The other thing that people tend to forget about is clean the coils in your refrigerator. They get kind of funky, and the whole point of the coils, you know, a refrigerator is just an air conditioning system. It works the same way as our air conditioning systems. It's extracting heat out of the refrigerator and dumping it outside, and that's why you feel a lot of heat coming from underneath the refrigerator because it's literally pulling that heat out of the refrigerator because cold is just an absence of heat by thermodynamics. But there's a little coil under there. So the thing that's the heat exchanger that's underneath the refrigerator, there's this coil that the refrigerant goes through, and a fan runs air across it. It can get clogged up with a lot of lint and a lot of dander and hair and stuff like that, and it restricts that airflow and makes your refrigerator work a whole lot harder and can cost you 20 to a couple $100 extra a year if you don't ever clean that thing. So it's one of those things, just take a vacuum and with a little brush, if you've got one with a hose, a little vacuum with a brush cleaner and run it against it. And that's pretty much all you got to do. If you want to get a little bit more technical, you can get coil cleaner at the hardware store. You can pick up a coil cleaner and spray it with a non-washable coil cleaner, and that'll really clear all the residue and everything off of that and make it way more efficient. Take you all told, setting up is going to take you longer than it's actually going to do to clean it. It'll probably take you all of an hour, set up and clean up and everything. So two nice, easy things in the kitchen. Um, you want to lead me into the next one?
Okay,
Let's
well,
give this
hopefully.
another shot and see about the technical difficulties.
By the way, these
You're
aren't
frozen
my.
again. So we will do house maintenance. Hopefully you've already had a bundle. You've already insulated your pipes, but just in case, I know it's starting to get cold again. I know today is Wednesday, and I heard it was snowing up on Banner Mountain. So it's getting cold enough. I know it was 31 or 30 degrees at my house in Grass Valley this morning. So you want to make sure, if you haven't insulated your pipes, go around and make sure those pipes are insulated. Even if you have insulated your pipes, go around and inspect them and make sure that insulation is actually holding on, because there's a chance that it might have fallen off in this last few storms. The other thing you want to do is go around the perimeter of your house and check all the vents and make sure they're cleared and clean, and make sure there's no holes in them that rodents can get into. And remember, a mouse can get into a hole the size of a dime. A rat can get into anything the size of a hole of a quarter. So kind of go around the perimeter of your house and check and make sure that you don't have any access points, and make sure the vents are open, because you want to have free air moving underneath there so that you don't have any condensation happening or any concentrations of water underneath your house, which can then cause mold inside your home. So you want to make sure your house is actually breathing. Inspect your house structure as well. Go around and this is a little bit more, you might want to grab a flashlight and crawl underneath your house and make sure you don't have any wet spots underneath your house. Make sure you don't have any wood that's touching the ground. It's a little bit more involved, but it's a really good idea to do. And now's the time to do it, because you want to be inside. You don't want to work on the outside of your house. Go underneath your house, then go in the attic as well. We've had some recent rains. Go up in the attic and make sure you don't have any water coming down through the roof. Make sure you don't have any potential leaks or any holes. Since we're talking about rodents and pests, you also have the potential for bats getting in your house. And a bat can get through a hole the size of a dime as well. They're about the same size as a mouse. So, look around the perimeter of your house, and it'll be dark in there, and see if you see any sunlight coming through. And if you have sunlight coming through that's not where the vents are at, you want to go look on the outside and check and make sure that those holes are, either covered in wire or plug them up completely, because you don't want any bats coming into your house. I know I had a friend that lived over in Nevada City, and the had some bats get into their roof and actually caused tens of thousands of dollars worth of damage, because the bats got up in there and doing bat things, doing mammal things. They peed and pooped all over the attic, and to clean that space up cost them a bundle. So you definitely want to go through and make sure that you don't have any holes. Add some insulation. If you've got some insulation spots, that's less than 12 inches, you can contact a professional, or actually just go buy some insulation at a local hardware store. Go to Hills Flat, A to Z, B and C, and pick up some insulation, and re-insulate those spots, and you should be good. We kind of lost Rosalie on this because we have some technical difficulties. Hopefully this is working. So the second one is inspect your bathroom. There's a weird thing that happens in bathrooms that we don't use very often. You can sometimes get a sewer gas smell from said bathrooms, because the P traps can dry out. And ironically, this time of year, the air is drier than it is during the summertime, so it can actually dry out faster sometimes. So you want to go through and run a little bit of water in those showers or bathroom sinks that you don't use very often, in that second or third or fourth bathroom that's off, the garage, or off the guest room that only gets used, once or twice a year. If that, run some water in it. Flush the toilets, because the other thing is, we have a lot of hard water up here. If you leave water to evaporate, it can leave some hard water stains on the toilet bowl and in the toilet tank. So flush the toilets, run some water in the fixtures, just kind of go through and exercise things, make sure they're actually working. Another thing you want to do while you're in the bathroom is check for mold. The bathroom's a wet spot, so particularly in your master bath, or the bathroom that you use the most. Go around and look around the perimeters, look around the corners, look in the corners of the shower, look in the windowsills. The window tracks can collect moisture because of condensation and cause molding issues. And clean it up. And in a real, there's some simple solutions that you can just clean with basic bleach that are online. I think it's a 1 to 4 mixture or 1 to 8 mixture. I can't remember, but don't quote me on this. Check online, find out what that mixture is. It's 1 to 8 parts, 8 parts water, 1 part bleach, or 4 parts water, 1 part bleach, something like that. And you simply, put on a sponge, wear some gloves, and clean it up, or a spray bottle and spray it. That's going to kill the spores. That's going to kill the mold. So it's a relatively easy way to deal with mold. And you might want to also check behind the bathroom, behind your toilet. This time of year, with the cold water coming into the house, sometimes you'll get the toilet bowl or toilet tank will start to sweat when you flush the toilet because cold water comes in and it's so cold that it actually the water will condense on the toilet tank. And so sometimes you'll see some mold behind the toilet tank that you may not see unless you poke your head up and behind there, take a flashlight and really check. And to get that, it's going to be a little bit more involved, but spray bottle with a bleach water solution will actually take care of that. So it's not a bad idea. And mold's not a good thing to have around. It's it can cause illness and cause real severe illness. So definitely take care of that as soon as you start seeing it. And now is a good time to check for that. Now is also the time to prepare for emergencies. So it's the wintertime. Fire season has not started yet. It won't start for another 5 or 6 months, hopefully 8 months, 9 months, well, at least 8 months. But go through your house and check your smoke detectors and check your carbon monoxide detectors. If you have smoke detectors that require batteries, now's a good time to replace those batteries. You want to do that on a yearly basis, and the new year is a good time to do that. You just make a point of doing it every year and replace those batteries. And it's a good reminder to do it on the new year. But like we've recommended before, if your smoke detector is 10 years old or older, you might want to think about just replacing it. You can get a new smoke detector that has a 10-year lifespan battery in it and just replace the whole smoke detector. And they're like, $20-$30, as opposed to buying a packet of batteries. I know 9 volts are close to $3 to $5, I think, per battery. So unless you buy the really cheap batteries. So, it's not a bad idea just to go buy a whole new smoke detector and replace your smoke detector with one that's actually going to last 10 years. And you can actually get a combination smoke detector and carbon monoxide detector. I think those are closer to $30 to $40 with the lithium batteries, but they last like 10 years. So it's a nice, easy solution and then you don't have to remember to actually do it every year. You just got to put it on the calendar to do it in 10 years. So definitely go around and make sure you've got those things working. Another really good thing to have around the house is a fire extinguisher. If you don't have a fire extinguisher, go out and buy one. Buy a couple of them. You want to make sure you have fire extinguishers readily available around your house and potentially in your car. I know I used the one in my car this year on Highway 49. There was a fire start from somebody dragging their trailer chains near near Alta Sierra, and I took my fire extinguisher out and was able to put out a spot fire. There was a bunch of us stopped, and it takes a village to put these things out, but you don't want the fires to take off. So have one in your car, have ones in your kitchen. You definitely want to have one in the kitchen because of grease fires. And if you do have fire extinguishers, check and make sure that they are not too old. Make sure the date stamp on them. If they need to be recharged, you want to do that on a yearly basis. I know we just went through and did that to our shop, and I do that in our apartment building. I go through and do that on a yearly basis. Recharge them and test them. Have somebody come out and actually do that. It's relatively inexpensive and it's worth the investment because I don't know about you, but I always quantify those expenses of doing safety things like fire extinguishers and actually hiring somebody to come out and do it, or even a chimney sweep. I quantify it with what's my deductible, what's my homeowner's deductible if I were to get a fire, if I did have smoke damage in my house, how much would I have? I'd be out of pocket just to start with a deductible. And I know my deductible is relatively low. I think it's only like $1,000, but if it's under, I just kind of use that. If it's under $1,000, I'll just pay for it because I'm going to pay for it one way or the other, right? If there's an actual emergency and a claim, I'll be paying $1,000 on my homeowner's insurance, or I'll just spend a couple $100 and get my fire extinguishers recharged. Same thing with doing the chimney sweep. If I have the potential for falling and hurting myself, I know hopefully it'll be taken care of. But if I'm out of work for a period of time, that's going to be a lot more expensive than the couple $100 to have a guy come out and actually knows what they're doing and has safety equipment and isn't going to fall off the roof. I've known too many people that have fallen off roofs. Fortunately, I've never fallen off one. Knock on wood. So I've got a couple more things. I have time for a couple more. Outside upgrades. So a couple things you can do on the outside. I know I've got to do this at my daughter's new apartment. She's got an outside light that has a burnt out light bulb, go around. It's dark this time of year, really early. The sun's going down before 5 o'clock. It seems. I I know it doesn't really go down before 5 o'clock, but it seems like that, especially in our forested areas. It gets dark by like 4:30. Um, Go and replace those light bulbs. And if you are replacing those light bulbs, replace them with an LED light bulb. It's really worth the expense of putting an LED light bulb because you really only have to do that once. LED light bulbs will last a long time compared to incandescent light bulbs, and they use a tenth of the power. The reason why they can last so much longer is they don't get hot. And one of the things with an incandescent light bulb, the reason why they're so inefficient is because they produce so much heat. You lose it in heat loss. So, get that LED light bulb, put it in there, and you probably won't have to touch it for another 10, 15 years, maybe even 20 years. I know I've got some LED bulbs that I bought 25 years ago, even before I moved up here, and they're still working in some of our lamps. So I moved up here in 2000, and it's 2024. So they're 25 years old and they're still working great. Right now, if you don't have gutter toppers, it's a good time to once again clear your gutters. I know I've got to do that at our place because the leaves have fallen, and if you haven't already done it, go out and clean those gutters so they drain properly. So I've got time for one more. Keep your devices running. Review the list of devices connected to your Wi-Fi. Reset your Wi-Fi password. This is one that I didn't even think about. Changing your Wi-Fi password every month may be a hassle, but it's a good way to prevent others from hacking into your network and potentially stealing your personal information. So if you live in an area where you can see your neighbor's Wi-Fi, you definitely want to be changing your password on your own Wi-Fi so that no one can steal your data. So yeah, you want to take care of that. And with that, if you need any plumbing, electrical, heating, or air work done, you can reach us at 530-230-9092. That number again, 530-230-9092. You can also find us at abtplumbing.com. Also, we've got these crazy specials still going. We're kind of, this new year, things are a little slow. So we definitely got these loss leaders going. $49 gets a technician out to check your heating and air system. $49 gets an electrician out to make sure that your electrical system's working safely and properly. If you got a house that's over 20 years old, or if you've done any remodeling within the last 20 years, you definitely want to have a licensed electrician come out and take a look at the electrical, make sure it's working like it's supposed to. We have a plumbing safety inspection and water heater flush, also $49. So we'll come out and make sure the water heater is working safely and efficiently, and give you recommendations on how to save energy on that. And also we'll check all the plumbing and make sure you don't have any leaks, make sure you don't have any areas where that could become a problem down the line. And then lastly, we have a $97 drain cleaning special. We'll come out and clear any residential drain that has it has a clean out, has easy access for $97, or it's free. If we can't clear it, we won't charge you. So any bathroom sinks, main lines, toilets, anything like that's $97. The number again, 530-230-9092. And you can reach us at abtplumbing.com. And with that is our show. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next week. Bye.